Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Feliz Viernes. I know it's unusual for me to do a live on the middle of the day on a Friday, but today is a special occasion. If you are new here, my name is Adelia Borishade, aka Picky Girl Travels the World, and you found my little corner of the internet where I do my very best to demystify travel, money, and everything in between. And to that end, some days I interview Black women who are out here living life on their terms and as they see fit, hoping to inspire you, hoping to share knowledge so you too can go out and do the same thing. And that's what we are doing here today. Hello to everybody who is here live. I see you in the chat. Um, and so, without further ado, let me bring my guests to the stage. Hello, hello.
Hi. Hello.
There we go. I was like, why does it look so empty? That's because I forgot to turn the name things on.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
So I fixed that. I fixed that. Um, Now I'm gonna let you introduce yourself to the people. But I'm sure there are a lot of folks here who I know already know who you are.
Okay. Well, I am Yolanda and I am locating cozy. Um, yes, and I'm a 50, almost 55-year-old woman that moved to Spain in April of this year. And I have made some drastic changes in my life leading up to this. And it all started with just a simple word search of basically Black woman expat. And that's how the research started. And now, after a lot of effort and a lot of information, I'm here. And I love to share my experience to help other women figure out what their next steps need to be.
Well, first, let me take a moment. She mentioned that she moved to Spain in April, but Yolanda just got approved for her 5-year residency visa. So let me congratulate you on that. Um, I want to emphasize that because a lot of folks out here, there are a lot of people on the internet talking about moving abroad, and one of the areas I feel like they kind of brush under the carpet, don't talk about enough is getting residency somewhere,
Mhm.
which is not the same thing as getting citizenship, but particularly because we are Black women. Like, I want us to be out here going to these different countries and being there in the most legal way possible so that if shit hits the fan, when they're looking at people to push out, I'm like, no, baby, I got a green card. I'm staying right here. So,
Yes.
congratulations on that.
Thank you. That was the most, I didn't know I was going to be so emotional about that. I was just ugly crying, boohooing, like, oh my gosh, because I literally, I was doing a live not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before. And as I was saying something about my solicitor, my attorney, and he sent a message. And I was like, oh, he just sent me a message. But of course, I didn't look at it. And then I was in bed at some point, and something said, girl, look at your phone. Okay. And yeah, that's when I realized what he was saying. And yeah, it was very, I was like, they really gave it to, I remember just a little comparison, not the same thing, I know, but I remember when Obama was elected and him and his wife like said, they really did it. They really chose us. Okay. It was like, that's how I felt at that moment. I was like, they let me stay.
Well, I don't think that that reaction is that out of the normal, particularly, being a Black woman in America, we get told no a whole lot. Even when we have all the I's dotted, the T's crossed, we've compiled the paper, whatever the thing is, there's always this chance that they're going to tell us no for
Yes.
really no other reason than us being us. And so, we don't think about it consciously, but I know that that is always in there. Now you mentioned you did a search for like Black women expats. What made you do that search?
Um, something, well, over the years, I had been hearing little gems of knowledge have been dropped in my way, in my path, about somebody moving to Mexico. And also my youngest daughter moved to Spain in 2016. So, and there was other things that I've been hearing about digital nomads and working remote and all these things. And at the time when I first started hearing about it, I was still working in the office full time, and that was just like some kind of like, oh, that would be nice to be able to do this or do that. It's like, oh, that's cute. And again, I had been hearing, or in my mind, I think I had built it up more in my mind, is that you have to be rich in order to, and have to have some, really good savings in order to move to another country or be a digital nomad and bop around. And at the time, my lease was coming up. It was about to end, and I was paying almost $2,000 a month for everything. And I was just like, as I was looking at other apartments, and I was in Dallas and trying to decide if I was going to stay in Dallas or move back to Houston, I was like, let's see if we can do something different. Let's just put in some words. And at the time, I really wasn't thinking of Spain. I was like, that would be nice, but I was like, there's no way they're going to let me come to Spain. And I didn't know about all these different types of visas. So at the time, I literally just put in Black woman expat Mexico. And that's when everything changed. And I soaked up all the information that I could. It's like
And what kind
just
of
binge watching.
information did you find? Like when you Google that and then you get all these results, what kind of things were you seeing?
Well, the first three people that like were really seemed like they were talking and had some sense and knew what they were saying was you, Stephanie Perry, and Rashida Dow. And I was just like, okay. And so, yeah, that's where it started. And, I was seeing other things, but it was really this movement that was going on about Black women saying, I'm out. Literally, yeah, the focus of being Black women saying that I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. How can I? And knowing that I didn't have to reinvent the wheel, it was already there. Yeah.
There it was. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that we are in Exodus Summit season. Rashida Dow, Stephanie Perry are the creators and co-founders of Exodus Summit, which is there is nothing else like it. It is the event for Black women who are thinking about moving abroad, maybe thinking about traveling long term, maybe thinking about taking a sabbatical. So if something that Yolanda has said so far has like clicked and made you curious, you definitely want to be there at Exodus Summit 2024. I will be speaking. I this is their fifth summit, and I remember when Stephanie reached out to me and was like, "Hey, we're doing this thing." And I was like, "Okay, so what do you need me to do?" And I think I spoke the first year on solo travel. And, just to see what an incredible event the you talk about Black women from all different walks of life, all different, age groups, different places in their lives, and all encouraging each other and finding a way to like make their life happen. One of my favorite things, favorite times of year.
And what was so amazing about the Exodus Summit, because I attended my first one in 2022. 2020, yeah, 2022 is when I attended my first one, because just for me, like I started doing the research where I put in, Black woman expat Mexico. I want to say that was like the end of August, and I think like within 2 weeks the tickets were on sale, and I was like, purchase done, I'm there. Okay, I'm there. And I came into um, that virtual meetup thinking that I already had my plan. Like I was like, I'm taking my job with me. I can stick it out for one more year. I'm going to take this job with me, and I'm going to see what my options are to, maybe go to Mexico, maybe go to Spain. I wasn't sure, but it helped me get some idea, not knowing that 2 days after that summit ended, my employer basically pissed me off so bad. I was like, I think I'm done now. Okay, I'm done now. Okay, so let me go ahead and put this information that was shared. I was like, you can actually utilize this right now. So let's go ahead and do it. Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a little bit. Okay, so your youngest daughter had moved to Spain. She was a language assistant.
Hmm.
That kind of like crack the door open, get you thinking. You're hearing this, that, and the other thing. Okay, and you at some point had made a decision that, okay, I am going to try and go abroad. And you said the plan was to take your job with you.
Hmm.
Now, what kind of job did you have that would have been possible?
So I was a accounts receivable manager for a software company, and I was actually the only accounting person in at the time. I was in Dallas at the time. The corporate office was like in another city. So but I had been working remote. I think when I first started that job, they wanted me to like be the face in the Houston office for accounting. But after a while I realized, one, everybody that I was managing was all over the world anyways. So I think within a month or two of me starting that job in 2018, I was like, why am I coming into the office? So that's when I started working remote, because that was not the original plan. Um, so yeah, I've taken that. I had already come to Spain like one or two times before to visit my daughter. The first time was like 5 days, and that was like, okay. It was great to see my daughter, and it was a great experience. But the next time I came back, it was like after they lifted the bans from after the lockdown, and I was planning to stay for 6 months. I ended up just staying for like I think 2.5 months, but that was like a this is good. And I felt that dread in my bones coming back, and I was still working, for said company at the time. But so I just let them know. I was like, there was some family things going on, and my daughter was pregnant at the time, and I was like, I have to go. Bye. Okay, like what are you going to tell me? Because my team is literally all over the world. So, and I think they were a little apprehensive, but the way that I left to come here with the plan of 6 months was it was at the end of the year. So, as far as their tax liability for having somebody working in another country, they were good because it was like the last 3 months and the first 3 months of the year. So that worked out. Um, but yeah, I've been doing accounts receivable for many, many years. I love it. I'm good at it, and managing people from around the world. I mean, I had my team members were in the Philippines, the Ukraine pre the war, um, Ecuador. No, it's not Ecuador. It's someplace else. Nicaragua. Nicaragua. I had like 3 employees in Nicaragua. So yeah, it was
Oh,
what I do.
and were these, not that this is really important, but I'm just nosy. Were these people working in those locations, were they US Americans who were working from those places, or were they people who were from there?
They were from there. So
Okay.
they that this company had the process of most of the quote employees were via Upwork.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Now,
they were in
the
there.
original plan was I got this job, I'm working remote. I will just work remote from somewhere else.
Hmm.
But then you said they pissed you off.
Yes. I remember like when it happened, I literally went like I did like a whole thing and I posted an Exodus Summit because I couldn't believe I did it. But they called me into a last minute meeting because I have to present, numbers and facts and stats and all these things every month. And so and then I also get the numbers ready for the quarterly meeting for the board. And so I presented the numbers. The numbers were good. In my eyes, the numbers were good. But I was called into a meeting after the fact that went on for, what was it, 2 hours and 56 minutes?
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
And it was like, well, I don't like these numbers like this. So let's go ahead and bring in, and I kept getting directions to um, pull stats from the previous quarter or for the previous month or things like that. And it was just going on and on. And at the time, I was sitting downstairs in the lobby of my apartment because they had like a good workspace area. And I'm sitting in there, but I can feel the tension just going up my neck. I could just feel it. And I have like medicine for like anxiety attacks, which I was taking more and more, even though I was working remote. I'm like, this is not good. So I felt the tension. I felt the palpitations. I felt my body physically just like, you're about to pass out. So I said at 2 hours and 56 minutes, look, I need to go upstairs and take my medication. We have to continue this later on. And he said, and one of the persons said, okay, but before you hang up, let's go ahead and pull these other numbers in and let me get a good idea of what that looks like. Give me just a couple more minutes. And I'm like, did I not just say I have to go take some medication? And at that point, finally, I said no. And I said, I got to go. And I hung up. And then I reached out to my therapist, who had been telling me for a while, you need to leave that job. Okay. And I reached out to HR and I said, I need to take some leave time. And so yeah, that's where it started. And I didn't know. And it was very emotional, like, because I was like, girl, what did you just do? You just hung up on them and said no. Okay. And put yourself first. Oh my gosh, how dare you?
Okay, that part right there. Put yourself first. Those of you who are watching this live, those of you that are watching this in the replay, if you've been around here for a minute and you listen to any of the episodes of my podcast, you know that that's number one around here. But that's coming from me, somebody who did not do that. I always put myself last. And
Mm-hmm.
it is, I think we all get that moment and we don't expect it to be when it happens, that it's like, these people really, like, how much more can I give them? Like
Yep.
all the great work you've been doing, all of what you had been doing for the prior 2 hours and 56 minutes wasn't enough. And it's
Mm-mm.
quite possible it was never going to be enough. And so in that moment, you listen to yourself, you listen to your body, and you were like, no, I got to do this for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very common thing. But we immediately, what'd you do? You talk to your therapist and you're thinking like, oh no, what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
What have I done? Because we've been conditioned to believe, girl, the job comes first. Our whole
For
lives
anything else.
are,
Yeah.
yes, I was thinking about this the other day. Um, People ask children, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the implied question is, what do you want to do for work?
Not what do
Not
you want to do for
what kind of
happiness?
person do you want to be? What do you want to do to be happy? How do you want to help the world or other people? That's not what that question is about. It is all about work. And work is the center. It is the primary focus of everything we do. And I'm saying that not that it's a good thing, it's a fact of life. And I say that also to point out that it is to the detriment of
Mm-hmm.
us, our health, our happiness, and all of that. So you went up, you did what you needed to do.
And I want to add
And
something to
then,
this. I just want
okay,
to say one little
okay,
thing. This was a big deal to me. When I hung up, I didn't say I'm sorry, I gotta go. I just said I gotta go. Okay. I did not apologize. We find ourselves I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if you don't like what I just did. And I hope
exactly.
you still like me, but I gotta go. No, I just said no, I'm done. I gotta go. And that felt wonderful.
I continue to work on trying to be unapologetic because for so much of my life, I apologize for breathing too hard. I apologized for
Mm,
everything. And this is part of me embracing being the picky girl is, yeah, I am picky. I am particular. And if that's a problem for you, You don't need to be here. You're not my people, you
Yes.
know? So you had done this thing, and I'm assuming you're like, there's probably going to be consequences because of the way that this went down. So did you break up with them or did they break up with you?
Well, they broke it with me. I made them break it with me, you know, after my leave. I made them break it with me. Okay. And I'm glad I did it that way. And, the thing is, had I not gone to, been looking at the content and gone to Exodus Summit, I would not have known that there was a way to do it without it really hurting me. So, yeah, I was like, I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to get myself together, and I'm going to go through this guilt, the immediate guilt that I was feeling for for making this sudden decision, to take care of myself. It was hard to sit through it. I'm a better person for it, though. Yeah, I always kind of joke about the fact, because at the time, this was also the crazy thing. At the time when I left, so it was like Exodus Summit ended 2 days later. It was a Wednesday, when I was like, I'm done. I had already gotten my ticket. They already knew I was going back to Spain for a couple of months, but I was still going to be working. I was just going to be working from Spain. So I was planning to go that weekend to go back to Spain. So, and of course, I still went. I got my ticket. I'm gone. Okay. But my daughter, during that time, because I was like, I got to find another job quick. And I would like be on on LinkedIn in Spain. And my daughter's like, what are you doing? Okay. Stop
All
it.
right. So let's talk about that because that's what we are trained to do. Like, you don't leave a job, let alone a good job, without
Mhm,
something lined up.
mhm,
And you immediately fall into that. I got to find a job. I got to find a job. But you don't have that job. You don't have a job. You are a freelancer now.
mhm.
So I'm curious about what made you say this is not the way for me to go. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna hang out my own shingle. I'm gonna work for myself.
I took, I didn't work for 5 months. Yeah, it was like from October until May. Oh wow, that was longer than that. Wow. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that was 8 months. Um, I knew in me, I was like, I'm tired of having deja vu. And the honeymoon period is getting shorter and shorter. I because I left when I left my job prior to the one that I to this one at the software company, I had another job, and I worked there, and I loved the people that were there. It was family, so to speak. It's my work family, and we supported each other, and they supported me as I decided to go to college. 'Cause I was in my 40s when I went to college, so they supported me in a manner when I decided to go to school, and also dealing with taking care of an ailing parent during that time. They were very supportive. And then I was promoted in that job. After I, got my degree, I was promoted, and I got to see some real back office, crazy upper management stuff going on. I was like, what on earth? Okay, just I'll just leave that at that for now. But uh, that's what made me decide I don't want to work for anybody else like this again. So let's figure out how to get this done where I can actually work, do contract work, get paid, have a short term assignment. So once again, like maybe 3 to 6 months. And yeah, I started changing how I was approaching jobs, making sure that I was updating my LinkedIn to maybe let it reflect that this is what I'm more interested in. And it was hard at first because all I knew was LinkedIn. It was hard at first because my history is so long with certain companies. My work history is so long that, and I have longevity at each company, that headhunters or recruiters, they were like, I don't think you really want to do contract work. I don't think so. I'm not sure about you. It's like, I'm like, I just said I would. Okay.
So how did you go about finally landing contract work?
I mean, just applying, just literally applying and letting them know. It's like, I mean, my resume speaks for itself. I just said, I need to take they have now on your LinkedIn, like if you were taking a career break, like there's a little section there. And in my cover letters or whatever, whenever I would apply for something, yeah, I would just say I need to make a transition. It's like I'm good at what I do. I want to transition this to something else that's more contract work that allows me work life balance. You know, that's the favorite phrase. I need more work life balance, but it was true. I needed more work life balance, and to do that, I decided to go ahead, at least for the next year, to just go ahead and do contract work. And I was able to, I can't remember like a recruiter. I had some recruiters that have reached out. Um, I think the first one was a global payroll company. I was like, okay. And I was in Spain at the time. And when they were like, you seem perfect for what we need right now. And I was like, okay, great. And I said, hey, by the way, I'm in Spain right now. So do you need to ship it? Do I need to have your laptop shipped to me? I mean, because I said I can work from my laptop. They were like, no, we'll send you one. And I was like, okay, well, I'm in Spain right now. And they were like, okay. So they sent me a laptop here in Spain next day. It works. Okay. And so I did that for, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So yeah, that was my first one, and I was like, "This is great." I'm gonna also say it was great not having to. It was great knowing that the assignment was going to end, and also I like the fact that I don't have to deal with all the different personalities in the office. I was dealing with one person the whole time. I like that. I would send her the information. She would tell me what I need to look up. She showed me how to use the system. I got the information. I provided weekly updates to her regarding, what was going on. I wasn't dealing with a bunch of different personalities. It was one person that I had to answer to.
Well, my next question was going to be about like, because I think freelancing, when most of us from the US hear that, immediately we think, well, I don't have any health insurance because in the US, health insurance is tied to your job. And so, like, come on, like, that's why you work hard to get a job with benefits, is so you could have it. And so, I think a lot of us don't really understand how freelancing works or what it is. So basically, you were doing what you already did previously as an employee.
Hmm.
But instead of being an employee of this company, you were like a contract worker. I don't
Yes, so
know.
there's different ways of doing it. And at first, I'll say when I first started this, I really did not understand the difference between the contract and the consultant because sometimes the titles are interchanged or like depending on the company. But basically, I was getting paid hourly to do to handle their books, to handle their receivables issues, to research and resolve, to improve, make sure that they're collecting on their revenue. And yeah, I was just getting paid a lot more. So, and I'm just going to just throw out some numbers. So, say that you were getting paid um, $25 an hour. That's not what I was getting paid at my last job. I was making way more than that. But say that you're getting paid $25, $30 an hour as an hourly employee. As a contractor, because they're not paying you the benefits, they're going to be paying you like maybe 45. I was making like $45 an hour when I first started doing contract work. So now they took out my taxes. As a contractor, they do take out the taxes. I don't know. Again, sometimes it's interchangeable, but any contract job that I've had, they've taken out the taxes, but I don't get any benefits. So they're not matching any kind of 401k. I don't get any kind of medical insurance. So that's on me, but they do take out the taxes. Um, and I was good with that. And I budgeted as far as, there are some health insurance for freelancers, for somebody that works for themselves. Was it crazy expensive with not a lot of coverage? Yes. That was a gamble I was willing to take. That was just a gamble that I had to take.
Well, I
I
think
mean, I
it's
got the
about
insurance.
priorities.
Yeah. So
Um,
before I lost my insurance at the job, I did like stock up on my medicines. Went and did all the physicals and all that stuff, and made sure I was in good shape um, because I was still leaving no matter what.
well, that's just it. That was the priority. And
Yeah.
so since that was the ultimate goal, you can negotiate or, rationalize, however you want to put it, the subsequent choices you got to make, because you're still getting to achieve the ultimate goal. Um,
hmm
for that first job you had, that contract job, was that W-2 or was that 1099 work?
No, that was W-2. It was still
Okay.
W-2. Yeah, because they were taking out the taxes. Yes.
Okay. So for the folks that are watching this and you're trying to figure out a way for you to get out, and trying to find a remote job, everybody and their mama trying to find a remote job right now, so it it might be a little difficult, but taking contract work like you did initially, where you're still a W-2 employee, you're not having to deal with the taxes, but the job comes to an end.
Yes.
You make more money, the job comes to an end. So let's say you have a contract that's 6 months. You do that for 6 months, then you got 6 months to go live wherever you want to live, be wherever you want to be. If the people you're doing the contract work have an issue with you being outside of the country. So that's one option.
hmm
Okay. Now, have you done the other kind of freelance work where you're just kind of completely on your own? You're just a 1099.
Yeah, actually, I'm not even a 1099 now, because it's all under my business. It's like so, and I'm jumping a little far ahead, but because I've had like two contracts. Wait a minute, no, actually, the two contract jobs that I had last year was they were both W-2, and they were both like 3 to 6 months. And so, and the other thing about that, just to throw that out there, because I kind of liked that kind of contract work also because it was easy to apply for unemployment in between that thing right there. Now you still had to wait a period because you can't just like you can't like end your assignment and then the next week be like I need my unemployment check now. There's a process, but because it was a W-2 contract, it was easier to apply for unemployment in between. So
That's
that's
a
one.
that's a very helpful little tidbit, because I have known many people since I have been abroad who are like, yeah, I'm here because I'm getting an unemployment check,
Yep.
because that money stretches further elsewhere. Okay, so
hmm
you've done contract work, we'll call
Yes.
that, where you are still a W-2 employee, but it's kind of without all the frills. It is
hmm
just, let us pay you this money and we will
Yes.
take out the taxes for Uncle Sam.
Yes.
Now, you just mentioned your company.
Yes. And so
Okay, tell us about
So
it.
I have done okay. So in between, I have done like a couple of 1099s and so, but they were like maybe they just needed some. They needed me to come in and look at their books and get things in order. So it may have been like a month or two. So it was like very project focused. And so I've had a couple of those come up where I've had that, but they weren't anything long term. It was just like it was just work for me. But what happened was I had been talking about starting my own business for years. I think like probably going back, the first time I thought about it was probably, oh, geez, my youngest is 34. And she was probably like 18, 19 years old when I first thought about it. And I got my DBA. You know how you go get the DBA and then don't do anything with it? Yeah. And so it's something that I've been piecing together. I was like, you need to take what you do and create your own business with this. So I was doing, when I first went on the leave back in 2022, I was like, okay, so now let me get my website together. Let me do all this. So I was still doing things trying to move forward. But it wasn't until my last assignment, long term project assignment had just ended. So I was getting unemployment, but I was leaving literally to move to Spain and get this visa. And about 3 weeks before, I got my first big client on my own under my company. And I was just like, holy crap. Because I literally, when I was getting ready to go to Spain on my unemployment, I literally had 5 weeks left on my unemployment. But I was like, you're still going to Spain. I don't care. We're going to work this out. I don't know what gumption came about in my mind that said, you can still do this. It's going to work out. Because I kind of knew in my mind that even though there was this dream and I've been doing things to promote my business, I always knew that I could always get a contract job. I would get another contract job, but at the time, I didn't know that God had other plans. And yeah, 3 weeks before I was leaving, I had started posting on LinkedIn. And my daughters have been telling me, you need to do this. You need to start. I was like, I don't want to write, because I always thought in my mind that in order to post on LinkedIn, you had to create this whole essay blog. Okay. And
Mhm.
that's not how my mind works. I'm like, I don't think I have that much to say about what I do. And so instead, I just created like little memes, little, not memes, just little verbiage that I got from Chat GPT. Okay. I was like,
Mhm.
this is what I do. I need to create some social media posts for LinkedIn for what I do. And it gave me just like 10 little things. And I said, okay, I created the first one, and then you can schedule your next posting. So I created a scheduled post every day, 5 days. I posted my first one that morning. That evening, I had a former GM from my previous company reach out to me and say, I'm at this company now and I need your help desperately. I was like, what?
There you go. I think the moment you were in that meeting with your previous employer and your body had told you it was having enough, and you were like, I'm going to go take my medication. The minute you stepped out of the box that we are all put in, anything becomes possible. The way that the things you are afraid of, the things that you believe might not work, the things that might work, all of that changes. And if there's somebody watching this today who is considering a move abroad, they're trying to navigate what that could look like. I'm taking a moment to point this out because it's very hard when you're in your old life to really understand the freedom of belief and thought that will come to you in your new life, because
I had
it all changes.
during this journey, and people have heard me say this before, during this journey, I had to learn to let go, to let in. And from the job to letting my furniture, getting rid of everything, um, I had to learn to let go and be okay with it. Yes, there's a mourning period. You're going to have a little bit of freak out period, but I had to do that. And something in my heart just said, it's okay. You're going to be, something told me, and I knew I was doing the necessary steps. I mean, I wasn't just sitting around like, it's going to be okay. I'm just going to sit in this corner and wait for my blessings to happen. No, I was doing
No,
things.
exactly, exactly. Now, being a freelancer, because this is the other point I want to make clear for the folks that are watching. There are multiple ways that you can do this. We talked about, you can do contract work. You can do sort of what happened to you, but not exactly. I hear a lot of people talk about they leave a job, but those people are so desperate to keep them that they're like, well, will you come back as a consultant? Will you do the same thing, but we'll just pay you 1099?
Hmm.
So again, when I'm talking about once you step out of the box and your ability to envision different solutions for your problems, it just gets unlocked. And so if you're watching this video right now and you're very much stuck in the thought of, well, I got to find a remote job, I got to find a job in the new country, I'm hoping that what you can pick up from the conversation that's happening here right now is there are many different ways for you to make this work. And maybe you do a couple of different things, but there is no one way to make your dream happen. That's what I hope somebody is picking up today.
It's amazing because I've been stuck. We've been stuck in that mindset with like one full time job. That's it. And if you don't have that one full time job, then your value is less. Girl, let me tell you something. Okay. I don't mind picking up some gigs on Upwork. that wants to pay me, okay, I don't mind. Now that I have my residency here, the type of residency that I have, or I'm finalizing right now, that I've been approved, I can actually work here in Spain. Do I want a full time job here? No, I don't want a full time job here in Spain. No, but I'm like, wouldn't mind like cultivating my house sitting, my trusted house sitting reviews, and like starting up like paid pet sitting gigs here. Yes, I don't mind that. I don't have to have all my income coming from one place. No, I'm
And
versatile.
so and now you are technically a business owner, although when folks are freelancing, you're a business owner, but you have a
Mhm.
formal business structure and they contract with your business to do these things. I think it's important to notice, okay, Yolanda's business is doing accounts receivable. Like I think
Parker Will Consulting.
off,
Okay,
okay, all
Parker
right.
Will Consulting.
I think it is so often we get caught up in, well, I don't, because I'll be the first one to tell you, I am the most reluctant entrepreneur. Okay. I didn't have these dreams of being in business for myself, blah, blah, blah. The reality is my priority was I want control over my time. And
Hmm.
so if this is what I got to do to make that happen, then so be it. But you, I want people to see that owning a business doesn't have to be some scary thing. You don't have to start, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a brick and mortar business. It doesn't have to be a restaurant. It doesn't have to be something that's completely different and out of your wheelhouse from what you already do.
Yep.
You are the embodiment of, we all have skills that we're monetizing when we work for other people. So why not just monetize them for ourselves, for our own
Hmm.
benefit?
Yep. It's been. I just put things in perspective. Okay, so when I first was like, I got to start my own business, I have to go to bookkeeping school. No, I don't. It's like I was like, girl, no, you
Wait a
don't.
minute, girl. You've been doing that for how long? Are you what?
There's like certifications and all this stuff, and I was like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You have because my services are very niche as far as my my strongest part is the accounts receivable side. Now I've done the whole gamut, with various jobs, of course. But yeah, my focus has usually been on the accounts receivable side. And I was like, why are you like pushing yourself to try to really hone in on something that hasn't been your focus? It's like, take this. I mean, I know how to do, month end close and all these things regarding accounting. But I was like, well, I need to really, so I can get my first client, I need to make sure I really focus in on the bookkeeping side. And finally I was like, why? You're good at what you do already. Take that and run with it. People need your
Already.
services. So yes, reinventing the wheel was we sometimes we go down that rabbit hole of I need to get training. Like, and I don't know, I'm not trying to say anything negative about anybody else's journey, but I've had a friend that she's been doing one type of business for a long time. She's like, well, I'm going to go to school to go to take these classes to become a project manager. I'm like, why? You work on projects? She's like, yeah. Do you have to
Exactly.
do you have an outline of what the expectation is and what the and what they're supposed to be getting from you and the deadlines, and do you have Asana? Do you have all this already? And so I don't know the if the project school is supposed to really what it's supposed to bring about, but I know that
Black
what my contracts are projects.
Black
Okay.
women love a degree, a certificate, a certification. If you doing it, that is enough. You are
Hmm.
doing it, you have done it. That is enough. That's enough
Yes.
to at least get started because you've already done it.
Yes.
Now, you
Absolutely.
mentioned your house sitting
Hmm.
and pet sitting. And we didn't really talk about that because you very briefly mentioned, when you were first starting to do some Googles, you were at a position where your lease was coming to an end the idea of, hey, I could be somewhere else and not paying $2,000 a month for this apartment, very, very attractive. And one of the ways that you did that was by being a house sitter, correct?
Yep. January 2023, I gave up my apartment. Now I have a dog that my sister in North Carolina was so wonderful, and she's like, if you can get your dog here, we'll keep your dog and let you so you can go on this journey and not have to worry about where your baby is. And I was like, thank you, thank God for them. And so I gave up my apartment, which that was emotional. I mean, yeah, giving up the apartment, sending my dog off to another state was very, very hard. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I did right after, like 2 days after I gave up my apartment, I was on my third pet sit without a home. Yeah, without a home. I was like, and we're off. Okay.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I literally pet sit. This is my first, this right here is my first a flat apartment since January. I've been pet sitting. I mean, yeah, and it's been not paying rent, not paying internet bills, not paying electricity. Oh my gosh. Okay. Pet sitting in Morocco, pet sitting in Mexico and Puerto Vallarta. It ain't half bad. Okay. It's not half bad. Yeah.
And so, again, we're looking at another facet of there is no one way to make this life happen for yourself. You were able to save the money you would have been paying on rent and utilities in the US. You were able to bop around and
Mhm.
travel to different places and live in other people's houses while you were watering their plants and taking their dogs for a walk.
Yep. Yep.
I
Um,
mean,
I remember when I was telling my friends about that part, they were like, what? Okay. What do you mean you're going to go stay at other people's houses? Like, yes. And the funny thing was, so the bartering that's done through trusted house sitters, I don't get paid for that. But then my friends who heard about it, they were like, oh, girl, yes. It's like, I would like for you, and they would like tell their other friends, it's like, Yolanda does pet sitting for free. No, I don't. Don't tell people that. Okay. On trusted house sitters, it's bartering. Off of the site, no, there's going to be a legal and binding contract that says I'm going to get paid for this. Okay.
but the reality is there are people who pay for house sitting. I have a Facebook friend who is a luxury house sitter. Like, these are multi-million dollar estates that
Mm-hmm.
she sits. She's there to water the plants, to make sure that the kitty litter gets cleaned. It's the same skill set. But there are people who are like who recognize it. Like you said, trusted house sitters, it is very much a work exchange. You come do this work at my house, I'm gonna let you stay here.
Yeah,
But there are people who pay for that, and that is again another way that are those skills that we all have. Some of us are better at it and others. Some of us want to use those skills. Some other people are like, no, when I travel, I don't want to have to worry about any animals, plants. I just want to worry about me.
yeah,
Then house sitting isn't for you. But that's just another way to go after and create the kind of life you want. So
absolutely. It's that's exposed me to a lot, and yes, had I don't see myself living back in the States long term. But I think that had I actually been living in the States, I would have been parlaying that into like a very lucrative, that pet sitting, house sitting would have been like the lucrative, like I still, even if I come back to the States, I don't plan on ever paying rent or a mortgage there again. Okay. So yeah, but had I moved or not moved to another country, I would have actually like parlayed my great reviews on trusted house sitters to a very, good lucrative business, to be a traveling pet sitter, not just in Texas, be a traveling pet sitter and getting paid. Yeah.
now let's talk about this move. Now, when you and I met in Portugal, you were very much in bop around mode. And now you have your own flat with your own stuff. Was
Hmm.
that always the ultimate goal? Or were you initially content to bop around and then something happened and you decided, I'm ready to settle down?
It was, I didn't know what my goals were initially. I was like, we're going to keep moving and keep doing this until I get tired. And maybe. And so, but what happened was last year when I met you in Portugal, my daughter and the grandbaby were there. And I think right before there was a meetup in Madrid, Melon in Madrid had a picnic in the park. And I had also hung out with this young lady. She is a comedian here in Madrid. She's an English comedian here in Madrid. And I went to one of her comedy shows. But during that time, that's when they had the picnic in the park. I was like, I need to be here. I feel good here. I Yeah, I was like, I need to figure out what I need to do to make this happen. Had no clue. And then I was at Kepra's comedy show, and this other lady was there, and I just said, I think I really want to move here. And she said, oh, I have a great attorney. And we're all okay. Okay. 2 weeks later, me and my daughter are sitting in front of on a Zoom call with this attorney doing our consultation. Like, okay, and that's when I've told people about this because people are always saying, "Well, how did you get a 5-year visa in Spain? How did if you're a digital nomad, they don't do that?" I didn't say I was a digital nomad. I didn't. I never said that. But there are 19 different types of visas that I was able to count for Spain. So when I talked to the attorney and he said, well, this might be a viable option for you to actually apply for a visa because you have family here. And I was like, oh, okay. And so that just gave me an opportunity. But yes, it wasn't until last year in April when I really was like, I feel at peace. I feel at home here. I'm, thankful that, I have my daughter, I have my one grandchild that I can be with and be around, and her not just know me from a video chat call. So yeah, it was just something that I really felt it, and again, I just happened to say it, and like bam, here's an attorney right here. Yeah. And so yeah,
Okay.
and
And
I knew that I wasn't going to be living with my daughter like permanently. That no, we can't do that. Um, but I'm in close enough proximity now that I have my own things, but we still see each other regularly. I'm here if they need help or something like that, or just to see each other.
okay, so we've got several folks in the chat asking about contact information for your attorney. I'm
Okay.
going I'm going to direct them to your
Okay.
YouTube channel. Would that be the best
YouTube
place?
channel, yes. YouTube channel actually has. I did a live this past Wednesday, and I believe his information is in there. Um, Yes, I need to create a little link and stuff. Actually, next Wednesday, just FYI, next Wednesday, actually interviewing him live on my channel, interviewing my attorney, to get some
Okay.
insight. So I'm really excited
Ye-
about that. Yes.
Okay. So if what you've heard, you're like, I wasn't thinking about Spain before, but it might be the move. Go subscribe to Yolanda's YouTube channel. There is a link for it in the description of this video, Locating Cozy. She will be interviewing her attorney live next week. I'm thinking you don't want to miss
Yeah.
that. Okay. Now, something that I have noticed, and you're more okay. You are not in Madrid, despite
No.
having such a great experience at the Melanin in Madrid events and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Where are you in Spain?
I am in Zaragoza, Spain. Zaragoza is like basically an hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes by train to Madrid, and an hour and 15 minutes by train to Barcelona. So I'm right in the middle. So I decided, yeah, because originally I was like, I'm moving to Madrid. I don't care how much it costs. Okay. Because I like to be in the middle, in the center. It's like, that's just me. And so when I fell in love with Madrid, I was like, I want to be right in the tourist district. I don't care. And that was maybe a bit extreme. But when I started doing the research and looking at the cost, it was going to be, because it's like, and I put in like what I needed. Like I knew I needed AC. We're not gonna play with that. I needed AC. Okay. I needed an elevator, not an elevator that was like that starts on the second floor. Like I need ground floor elevator. Okay. I needed something that was going to be close to public transportation because I don't have to drive anymore. Yeah. And so when I put those parameters in, and I actually was on Idealista, which is like the listing, like in Europe, for to find like apartments or find homes for sale. Um, it said it was going to be like roughly anywhere, and again, this amount can go way low depending on what part of town you're in, or way higher depending on what you want. But what I was looking for was like maybe $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Okay, in Zaragoza, same parameters, it was going to be about $500 less. Yeah. So I had to really think about it, and I was like, Zaragoza ain't that bad. Okay. And
And I feel like you have, you talking about it's not that, it ain't that bad. You actually have become like the poster
I,
woman for
yes,
Zaragoza, Spain.
yes, I love Zaragoza. It has, it's the fifth largest city in Spain. So before my daughter moved here in 2016, I didn't know about a Zaragoza. Okay. I never heard of this place. And so, she was doing her research, and I've come to visit, and I love visiting this place, and it's beautiful, and it's a big, small town. But yeah, I've totally embraced it now, and I love the convenience. So if I really do feel like I have to go and be in the really big, thick and mix of everything, it's an hour and 15 minutes by train. I've been doing pet
That's
sits in
nothing.
Barcelona and Madrid. Yeah.
That's nothing. So tell us a little bit about your meetup that you're going to be hosting in Zaragoza, Spain.
Okay, thank you. So, if you are country shopping, if you're thinking about country shopping around the EU, if you're going to maybe do a little discovering Spain and you want to go and check out Barcelona or Malaga or Valencia or Sevilla or Madrid, put Zaragoza on the map. Put that on your itinerary just to budget out some time. So, on October 24th and 25th, it's going to be a 2-day meetup in Zaragoza. So now we're starting out. I'm starting out. I'm actually going to be in Madrid on October 23rd, but that is specifically for Black women. This is our safe meetup lunch where we're going to hang out. I'm going to be there for a few days, but we're actually going to do a lunch in Madrid on the 23rd. But that is specifically for Black women. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. Your husband, or whoever, your kids can go someplace else and hang out for a while where you meet up with us. Okay. And just again, I'm going to be sharing some stuff about different things that you can do and where I'll be in Madrid. But the day afterwards, Zaragoza, Thursday and Friday, October 24th and 25th, is where you come here and you just enjoy. It's so beautiful. I'm in the center of, I live in the center. So, but there's like all these wonderful restaurants that we've gone to. We're actually going to be having a nice dinner that Friday. But there's some other things that we'll be doing, and some other things that I'll be saying that you should go check out. Like, it's going to be a pole dancing class. That's not part of the cost of coming to see me. That's on you. But there's going to be a little pole dancing class, okay? Because my daughter has become quite the aerialist. Okay, so I wanted to, invite people to check that out. We're going to go to the park. We're going to do a picnic in the park on that Thursday. I'll be sharing more details there with that. Well, also during that time, my attorney will actually, I think he's going to meet us in Madrid. So if you're coming to Zaragoza, but you meet me in Madrid first the day before, he's actually going to be, because he's based out of Madrid, he's actually going to be like in person meeting to answer questions and talk in more detail in Madrid. So that's part of it also. And then we'll also have some locals, some expats that live here so that they can share their experiences. My daughter will actually be talking with the group about what it's like to raise a child here, to be married and raising a child here. That's not my mission. So I don't know about, all the schools and everything. I'm done with that. But Yeah. So there will be somebody here talking to you about what it's like to have family here. It's a very family oriented city. Um, like, yes, the kids are out well, not during school nights, but the kids are out at 11 p.m. with the rest of the family at the playgrounds. There's so many playgrounds around here. Okay. So many. So just an overall great experience.
Okay, so I'm hearing you talk about all this and I'm like, "Oh, maybe I should consider Spain." Now, you happen to live in Zaragoza because that is where your daughter and her family are. That's a big part of the reason, not the
Yes.
only reason. But let's say I'm single and I don't have kids to bring with me or what have you. Like, is Zaragoza still a place where I would enjoy living if I don't have that family connection like you have?
So the thing is, again, I'm single. I'm super single. Okay. So I'm going to go out and find my tribe. My family is here and I love them, but also I have to find my own places to go. So like every other week they have like the blah blah language exchange where they go and I meet up with them. They go to a local bar. I find things. I join internations to go and hang out with people here. I'm the type that I'm going to find things to do if I feel like I need to get out, and if I really need to get out and like if I know there's something going on with Melon in Madrid that I want to go to, I'm gonna hop on a train and go there. I'm gonna find me a pet sit. I'm gonna hop on a train and I'm gonna go hang out with the people. If I know that my friend Kepper is doing a particular comedy event or whatever, I'm going to. If I feel like it, I'm going to go. Um, the community here, there is a black community here. It's not like a big black. That sounds so weird. The community of of African Americans here is not large, but that's okay. I'm going to, as I say, if I build it, they will come. So
Right.
come check it out. I feel like it's great. I mean, there's not just family here because the families are really kind of like on the outskirts.
Mhm.
There's a whole community of like a centralized area for like the families. They're everywhere. But I'm here in the center and I don't feel like I'm lacking on anything. There's plenty of restaurants, plenty of bars. Okay.
Well, and
Um,
and I think I asked that question because there may be somebody watching who that's the where they're thinking. But I would argue that when you leave the United States, I don't know if y'all really realize this, but in the United States, we don't like children. Not in the way that people do in other countries where children are there aren't events that are, like child friendly because almost everything is.
mhm.
The
Yeah,
children are expected to be at dinner with us at the restaurant. How people live their lives includes their children, I feel like a lot more than how we do things in the United States.
yeah,
So just because they do that don't mean they don't know how to go outside and turn up.
yeah.
So I think you get all of those things, but I wanted to specifically ask that question because I know there's somebody watching this who's thinking, well, I ain't got no kids, I ain't got no grandkids. Can I still go and have fun? Absolutely.
Yes. So, most definitely. It's so funny because when I first came here to visit my daughter for the first time in 2018, I was not impressed. I didn't like Zaragoza. I was like, okay, well, she's here. I'll come. And so, but now I've seen it grow so much and they have so much to do. And I remember like within the language exchange group that I belong to, when they realized that I was actually living here and not just visiting, they were like, oh, well, come on into our WhatsApp group. Girl, they reached out. They were like, okay, so we're meeting up. I'll be there at 12:30, but we'll probably be here until about 6 a.m. I was like, it's not what? Okay.
That part. Because if you are looking to have an active social life, this is a place where people go to dinner at 8, 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
you already know the party is going well into the next morning.
Yes. Very much so. And I was like, well, I'll catch you guys the next meetup because I'm not doing that. Okay. That's just I mean, we've been balling because like, we go out, at 8 or 9 o'clock. And actually sometimes we'll go out at like maybe just at 8 o'clock. And my son in law is like, this is early. Okay.
Yeah. I struggled in Spain because I'm looking to eat around 5 and 6, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Girl, what? That is not how we do things here."
Yeah, it was so
Um,
funny. They just opened up a Costco. It just opened today, and I was like, I'll be there. I'm single. I didn't need all that stuff. I was like, it's
yeah.
Costco. I'm going.
Well, thank you for stopping in for this chat. I've already seen evidence of this in the comments, but I think you sharing your experience and your story is going to benefit so many women and maybe kind of open up an idea to them that they maybe didn't realize was available. And I
Yes.
appreciate you coming on to share that with us.
Thank you so very much. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate it. And, you know, I know that I encourage, especially for the meetup in Madrid, because I know that there's some Black women that live I saw it in the Exodus Summit group that it's like, they were like, oh, I live in Malaga. Oh, I live in Rota. Is it Rota or whatever? I'm like, come on. I'll see you in Madrid at
Yeah.
least. Come on. I look forward to that. That is so exciting and stuff. But yeah, your opportunity to change how you work, take advantage of that. I did want to just say this. So the consultant, which I love, and I do this every time at the end. I'm like, oh, let me add one more thing. Sorry. Consultants, like I have like, one client, I have one big client, but then I still like have like some contracts or whatever that might pop up for a project. So it's a mix. So just because you have a business, yes, you want to build your business, and your business might just be maybe, you only have two or three clients because you don't want to work
Yeah,
that
and
hard.
you don't
That's
you
okay
don't
too.
have to have that many.
Yeah. One was good for me for a while. I was like, y'all paying me, and now I can actually, the project just ended today, and now I'm going to take a couple of months before I go into my next project. I'm okay with that.
Yes, I was thinking about that earlier and meant to say something about it that you there you get to make up the rules.
Hmm.
So your business might have one or two well-paying large clients, but you can still pick up a contract here and there. That's the beauty of stepping out of that box and being able you can do whatever you want whenever you want, however you want. And I know it's a hard thing to wrap our minds around because all of our lives we have been told there are these rules. These are the rules you have to follow if you want to be successful. These are the rules that you have to follow if you want to achieve the American dream. And those rules are all made up. The only rules that matter are the ones you create for the life that you want. I'm a just say
Great.
it plainly.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you again for being here. All of Yolanda's links are in the description, as well as my affiliate link for Exodus Summit. If you are thinking about going, because you're like, hey, I want a community of Black women who are all over the world and doing incredible things. If you use my link, I get a little bit of something on the back end, don't cost you nothing. Much appreciated.
All right.
Bye.
Thank